The Nylander contract is the biggest in Leafs franchise history. They certainly haven't been shy to hand out the big bucks. The numbers are enormous. Nylander, Tavares, Riley, Marner, and Matthews, their 5 deals combined to total over $352 million. Joined now by Craig Button. Craig, Nylander is a Maple Leaf until 2032, assuming he doesn't decide to waive his full no-move clause at any point. You've been adamant from day one. They need to get this player signed. Now that it's done and you've seen the numbers, what do you think about the deal?
Yeah, I always thought that it wasn't a question of what the value of William Nylander's next contract was going to be. It was fully a question, does Brad Treliving want to say yes to that number or no? And clearly, Brad Treliving said yes. And you look at what Nylander's been able to do, not just this year, but in the previous few seasons. He's an elite player. And certainly Brad Treliving has work to do with respect to building out the roster around those 5 players. But at the same time, you start to consider, would you rather try to build around those players, or would you rather have some of those other players and then try to add skill? I think that the way Brad is going to move forward here, trying to build around the core, is a much better way, because acquiring high-end talent and high-end star quality players, really difficult.
Okay, Craig, I want to follow up on that. The core 4 plus Morgan Riley are going to chew up $54 million in cap space. That leaves just $33.5 million to sign the other 18 players, an average of $1.86 million each for all of them. Can Brad Treliving really round out that roster with that hanging over his head?
He has to, Gino. There's no other way for him when you say yes to the Nylander contract. That is the job of the general manager now. The job of the general manager is to build around this core 5 players. And certainly you got $28 million roughly coming off the cap. The cap's going up a little bit. If you look at Matthews and Nylander's contract, it's just over $6 million above what they're charging against the cap this year. But there's no easy formula for building out a team. And certainly Brad Treliving knows that. He absolutely considered all the different possibilities, having them, not having them, what it would mean to try to build around these players. But that's the manager's job. And that is what Brad Treliving has to focus in on now. There's going to be questions, and certainly the performance of the team going forward, not just this year, but in the years ahead, are going to dictate whether he's been successful with that. And ultimately, he wants to be greatly successful with it, getting the team into Stanley Cup contention. That is the job of the manager. And when he said yes, he knew what the mandate was for him. So that's what he has to do, Gino. It's not about can he has to. And
you know what else Treliving's got coming down the pipe? Tavares and Marner are both UFAs after next season. Tavares may take a pay cut, sure, but not Marner. Over the last 3 years, Nylander is averaging 1.11 points per game. Marner is averaging 1.25 points per game.